Greece's chronic malignancies cannot explain the depth and stubbornness of our current crisis, of what has become, sadly, Greece's Great Depression, our 7-year-old and long winter of discontent. To explain this, one needs to cast a critical gaze upon our monetary union's design faults and how these design faults of the Eurozone went into an unholy alliance with our nations, the Greek nation's failings, to produce a monster of a crisis in Greece, one that has degenerated into a humanitarian emergency, and one crisis and emergency which has global significance.
In Europe, we have good reason not to provide financial assistance without demanding something in return. And we do not provide help if a country doesn't use it to help itself. A lot of people underestimate the problem of moral hazard. But if you separate decision-making power from accountability, and if you separate opportunity from risk, you can't succeed. Debt relief and permanent transfers wouldn't solve a single structural problem. They would weaken the incentives to carry out reforms. And they would create a problem of moral hazard in political terms, namely the experience and expectations that others will bear the cost of a country's own actions or failure to act.
Greece went from a period before 2008 of Ponzi growth, fueled by unsustainable borrowing, to a period of Ponzi austerity, which is what I call serious, stringent austerity funded by unsustainable borrowing.
As long as you give them buyouts, you will never get the hard decisions you have to take. And that is what I call, any democratic system, in my long experience, tends to take the more comfortable decision if you have the alternative to do so.
Toying with Grexit, which is something we don't do, we are refusing to discuss it, because as I've said before, even worrying about it is like worrying about being hit by a comet in a universe in which comets are attracted to you if you are worried about them. Toying with Grexit and ideas of amputating Greece is profoundly anti-European, because anybody who claims that they know what the effect of a Grexit is are deluded.
The Greek government, any Greek government, has to tell someone, what do you think, when will you get access to financial markets? Because then, of course, if you don't have access to financial markets, you need someone who lend you money. The Europeans have said, okay, we are ready to do it until 2020. Suppose you will work that you 2020 can deliver. That is a bit disputed. That is what is on stake to be negotiated. If you find someone else, whether it's in Beijing or in Moscow or in Washington, D.C. or New York, who lend you money, okay, it's fine, we would be happy. We would be not jealous. But I bet you will not, it's difficult to find someone who is lending you in this situation. Therefore, we are saying, please, if you don't deliver, we can't disperse, that is in the memorandum, so last pending disbursement.
The combination of a glut of savings in Europe, of high public and private debts, of low investment, of low interest rates, and generalized austerity is causing Europe to address its crisis by exporting it to the rest of the globe, while undermining further the real economy of its own peripheries.
You might think that our decision-making processes are cumbersome and complicated. And you might feel quite certain that Europe's current policies will lead to little or no growth. I could simply answer by telling you that the Eurozone's economy is growing again, and that this year every country in the Eurozone and the EU is expected to post positive growth.
And finally, what would I do to stay in the Eurozone? We are going to compromise without being compromised. That is what we're going to do.